Imagine a world where cars don't need gas, don't need charging, and can run forever. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, not anymore. Zimbabwe, a country once known for its economic struggles, is now leading a revolution in the automotive industry. What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this video, Africa is quietly transforming the automotive industry? And no, I'm not talking about importing cars or assembling foreign brands. I mean real, groundbreaking innovation, like Zimbabwe's self-powered electric vehicle that runs entirely on radio waves. Yes, you heard that right. Cars powered by radio frequencies. No fuel, no batteries, just pure ingenuity. Sounds impossible? Stick around, because today we're diving into Africa's incredible automotive revolution, a story of resilience, creativity, and a continent rewriting the future of mobility. And if you love discovering cutting-edge technology, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's free and helps us bring you more mind-blowing content every week. Now, here's a fact that might surprise you. Africa is producing around 30,000 vehicles every single day. That's over 10 million cars a year rolling off production lines. From Morocco's bustling factories in the north to South Africa's industrial hubs in the south. But these aren't just any cars. They're built with a purpose, designed specifically for African roads, African climates, and African lives. This isn't about mass-producing generic sedans. It's about creating vehicles that truly resonate with the continent. Leading this revolution is Maxwell Chikumbutso, a Zimbabwean inventor with a vision that challenges everything we know about energy and transportation. Back in 2009, he introduced something extraordinary: the micronic energy device. This isn't just another gadget, it's a technology that captures ambient radio frequencies from the air and converts them into usable electricity. Fast forward to today, and he's taken that idea to a whole new level, creating the world's first self-powered electric vehicle. Imagine a car that doesn't need gas stations, doesn't rely on charging points. It simply powers itself as it moves, harnessing the invisible energy all around us. This isn't just an exciting innovation. It could be a game changer for millions across Africa. Fuel prices are at an all-time high in many regions, and electricity grids are unreliable at best. A self-powered car could be a game changer, cutting transportation costs, connecting remote communities, and redefining mobility in places where traditional infrastructure struggles to keep up. But Maxwell Chikumbutso's story is just one part of a much bigger picture. Across Africa, countries like South Africa, Morocco, Nigeria, and Ghana are making big strides in the automotive industry, producing vehicles that are tough, practical, and built specifically for the continent's unique challenges. Morocco, for example, has transformed its automotive industry in less than 2 decades. In 2023 alone, it exported 400,000 vehicles to Europe, thanks to strategic partnerships with global manufacturers like Renault and Stellantis, and a strong focus on building local expertise. South Africa's automotive sector employs over 100,000 people and contributes significantly to the country's economy, while Nigeria and Ghana are quickly becoming hubs for affordable, locally assembled cars. Africa isn't just trying to catch up to the rest of the world. It's forging its own path. For decades, Africa was little more than a dumping ground for second-hand cars from Europe and Asia, old, worn-out vehicles that were used until they finally broke down. But that narrative is changing fast. Africa is no longer just assembling foreign brands. It's designing and manufacturing its own vehicles that meet the specific needs of its people. This shift is significant for many reasons. First, it creates jobs, hundreds of thousands of them. Car factories need workers, supply chains need suppliers, and innovation requires skilled engineers. In South Africa, the automotive industry supports countless families, while Morocco's booming exports have made car manufacturing a key pillar of its economy. This is proof that Africa can compete on a global scale. More importantly, African engineers understand their continent better than anyone else. They know that many roads are unpaved, temperatures can be extreme, and fuel isn't always easy to come by. That's why cars built in Africa prioritize durability over luxury. Vehicles are designed with higher ground clearance, stronger suspensions, and dust-resistant engines, not as fancy add-ons, but as absolute necessities. Beyond practicality, there's also a deep sense of pride in what's happening. Africa's automotive revolution challenges the outdated idea that the continent can't innovate. From Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered car to Morocco's rise as a leading exporter to Nigeria's expanding car assembly plants, these stories are inspiring a new generation of African creators. Kids tinkering in garages, students studying engineering, and aspiring entrepreneurs are all eager to leave their mark on the industry. African-made cars aren't about flashy features or unnecessary gimmicks. They're built to solve real problems. Roads in many parts of Africa are rough, dusty, full of potholes, and prone to flooding. A standard sedan wouldn't last long in those conditions, which is why African automakers focus on strength and versatility. Vehicles here aren't just for personal use. They often serve multiple purposes, from transporting farm produce to taking children to school or carrying business supplies. That's why so many locally built vehicles are designed to be multi-purpose, like vans, minibuses, and trucks. The cost of fuel is another huge factor. In many areas, a gallon of gas costs more than a day's wages, and charging an electric vehicle isn't an option without a stable power supply. That's what makes innovations like Chikumbutso's self-powered car so exciting. If perfected, this technology could eliminate the need for fuel or charging stations entirely. While some skeptics question whether radio waves can generate enough power for a full-sized car, even as a proof of concept, it's a groundbreaking idea that could change everything. The success of Africa's automotive industry isn't just about building cars, it's about collaboration. From the steelworkers shaping the frames to the software developers writing the vehicle's code, every car is the result of countless hands working together. Local supply chains play a huge role in this too. Instead of importing everything, African manufacturers source materials locally. Steel from Kenya, tires from Egypt, upholstery from Nigeria. This doesn't just cut costs, it spreads wealth across communities, creating opportunities for small businesses and family-run workshops. Collaboration goes beyond just materials. Universities and technical institutes across Africa are partnering with car manufacturers to improve designs, test materials, and train the next generation of engineers. In Zimbabwe, Chikumbutso's team is working with local electronics experts to refine his energy device. In South Africa, universities collaborate with global brands to ensure that their vehicles meet international standards. Africa's automotive revolution is about more than just building cars. It's proof that the continent isn't just following trends, it's setting them. With innovations like self-powered vehicles, locally built SUVs, and durable multi-purpose transportation, Africa is shaping the future of mobility in a way that reflects its own needs and strengths. This is just the beginning, and as more countries invest in homegrown talent and infrastructure, the world is starting to take notice. His synergy between industry, academia, and local talent is what gives Africa's automotive revolution its strength. And it's not just happening at the local level. International partnerships are playing a crucial role as well. Morocco's rise as a major car exporter was fueled by collaborations with companies like Renault, which brought expertise and investment. In South Africa, factories produce BMWs and Toyotas alongside locally designed vehicles. But these partnerships aren't about dependence. They're about leveraging global knowledge to boost African innovation. Africa is at a crossroads. One option is to follow the traditional path of fossil fuel dependence, producing gas-guzzling cars like the industrialized world did for decades. The other is to leapfrog over that model entirely and embrace a cleaner, greener future. And here's the spoiler. Africa is choosing the latter. Electric vehicles are gaining traction across the continent, and they're not just imports. Kenya is rolling out charging stations powered by geothermal energy. Uganda's Kira Motors has developed a solar-powered bus, making use of the country's abundant sunlight. Nigeria is exploring biofuels made from locally grown crops, reducing dependence on imported oil. These aren't just isolated experiments. They're part of a larger movement toward sustainable mobility. But Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered car is in a league of its own. By harnessing radio waves, an ever-present energy source, it eliminates the need for batteries, chargers, or fuel stations. No lithium mining, no coal-powered electricity, just a car that runs on energy already. In the air, is it perfect? Not yet. Critics argue that radio waves don't provide enough power for a full-scale vehicle, and without independent testing, it's hard to prove its long-term viability. But even if it's not ready for the mainstream, it's an idea so bold and innovative that it could spark a revolution. In Africa, where necessity drives invention, this kind of thinking is exactly what fuels progress. Sustainability isn't just a buzzword here, it's a survival strategy. Africa's population is growing rapidly, its cities are expanding, and resources are finite. By investing in green technology now, the continent isn't just helping the environment, it's securing its economic future. Of course, the road ahead isn't without obstacles. There are major challenges that won't be solved overnight. Supply chain disruptions, like the global shipping delays seen during the pandemic, can halt production. A factory in Johannesburg might be waiting on essential parts from Asia, causing costly delays. Infrastructure is another hurdle. Unreliable power grids can lead to blackouts that stall assembly lines, and poor road conditions make transporting finished vehicles difficult. And then there's the issue of regulation. Every country has its own rules on safety standards and import taxes, creating a bureaucratic nightmare for cross-border trade. Skepticism is another challenge. Chikumbutso's self-powered car, for example, has plenty of doubters. Without peer-reviewed studies or independent testing, it's difficult to convince everyone that the technology is real. Is it a scam, a pipe dream, or simply ahead of its time? The answers aren't clear yet, but the questions themselves are driving innovation forward. Despite these obstacles, African entrepreneurs and governments are facing them head-on.